it is that Pochettino and Levy are trying to do?
Well, that's a great question because this is probably the question that you want to ask Sam as the financial analyst. What is that revenue stream going to be from the new stadium? The naming rights, our prominence in being able to secure bigger sponsorship deals in everything we do, from kit to kit sponsor to the stadium. I don't know the answers to those, but I think you do have to hope that Levy's going to bend the wage structure for us to be able to compete. I can't think he's as foolish a businessman to say, yep, we're going to get in a great new stadium, we're going to make a ton more money, and it's status quo. That has to change. Yeah. But to what? Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy there, and I don't think any of us really are going to know what he's thinking when it comes to loosening the purse strings.
I totally agree with you. Before we get into the injury update for the upcoming week, let's get on to Simon's five-a-side trivia. This has become part of the landscape here at the Hotspur America podcast. Tim actually raked it in last week, man.
Yes,
he did. Totally getting some of these the Argentine one blew me away, man. I think.
Didn't Sam accuse you of cheating?
He did, but I didn't know there was going to be any questions about Argentina.
No, I mean, it was.
I knew when there were going to be questions about German clubs. I mean, hey.
Well, and again, the deal is, fellas, that's why there's only a second chance, because if there's a third one, someone else is Googling, and that can't happen.
I am not Googling during the trivia contest.
I know you.
I may read some the week up to it, but I am not cheating during the contest.
Yeah, I read up on Germany like crazy and totally fluffed my lines going into that week. But what do we got this week, Simon?
So we know it's the 80s, and obviously it's a decade worth of stuff. And we were good. We were good in the 80s. Remember that, fellas? So, Jared, feel free to chime in. All you got to do is say your name if you think you know the answer, just for shits and grins. But we'll kick off with the 80s. Not as convoluted as last week with all those nicknames. So question one, if you're ready, we shall go. Who did we sign Graham Roberts from?
Vass.
Yes, Vass.
Weymouth.
Very good. And for a bonus point, do you remember how much that was?
35 grand, something like that.
Oh, what a man.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. It was £35,000.
Get on, Vass. Love it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a bit of an advantage over you guys because like the 80s is my thing kind of thing.
I've only read about the 80s, man. So
I was barely alive during the 80s. So I feel like
they have books. This is a history lesson. Question number two. Who scored our only goal in the 1982 Milk Cup final?
Vass. Sorry, guys.
Just say Glenn Hoddle and get it wrong.
Steve Archibald.
Correct. Vass, you're not allowed to come on next week, all right?
I'm not answering the next one. I'll leave it for Ken and Tim.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay. Well, then I don't think they'll get this one. Sorry, lads.
Great.
Who did Spurs beat in the 1987 FA Cup semi-final, and what was the score?
Oh.
Tim.
Huh.
I heard Tim. Was that a mistake? Did Ken say Tim?
That was a mistake.
I'm thinking.
No, I thought you were asking something else, and I went for it.
This is kind of topical if you really think about it.
The 1987 FA Cup semi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Vass, you're just going to have to kick him in the balls. Go on.
Ken.
Oh, no.
Ken.
It was...
Ken. All right, Ken. Go on.
It's either Coventry or...
No, you're wrong.
Coventry were the final.
Yeah.
Leeds.
No.
Shit.
No. Was Watford.
Yeah, Watford. Topical. Vass,
I think.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you the bonus point for that.
No, that's okay.
You're at 4 points. Question number 4. Who took over for Keith Birkinshaw in 1984 when he left the club?
Tim.
Tim.
Yes. I looked up this one. I read the book. Peter Shreves.
Yes, good man.
Good job, Tim.
Man.
Nice job, Tim.
Getting on the scoreboard. Gets himself on mute there. Okay, so this is a multiple point one. I'm looking for 2. If you're good enough to give me more than that, I'll give you the points. Other than Anderlecht in the 1984 UEFA Cup final, name 2 other clubs we beat on the way to winning that cup.
Tim. We beat Bayern Munich and Feyenoord.
Yes.
Yeah,
very
and
good.
Johan Cruyff was playing for Feyenoord at that time.
And
we
Glenn
did it.
Hoddle tore him a new one.
And he gave him his
Yeah.
jersey afterwards. He came into
Rui
the
Todic
dressing
played for
room.
them as well that day, yeah.
We also beat Drogheda of Ireland, FK Austria, Vienna, and Arduk Split. So, scores on the doors this week, 4 points to Vass, 3 to Tim. Vass gets the bonus point. Looks like we've got a 2-horse race. Ken, you need to get some more books, buddy.
Yeah, my offense is sputtering like Spurs.
I have not got a subject for next week, but I will have one, and I'll
Surprise us.
I'll throw out a teaser during the week. It could be a potpourri. I may have to do a potpourri.
Yeah, let's do a potpourri.
I thought you were going to ask some questions on the ownership during the 80s. Because we got listed on the stock
boring.
market.
Yeah, that stuff's boring, and Irving Scholar and all that. So
Yeah.
But we could do that another time. You never know.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, fellas. Thank you. Well done.
Yep, thank you.
Cheers.
And as we move forward, we have Apoel in Champions League midweek and Stoke on the weekend. Tim, as always, here with his injury update.
Timmy, get out the Bengay. You know what time it is. Groin pull, deep thigh bruise.
All right, looking ahead to the week against Apoel and Stoke. I'm not going to give you Apoel injury updates. Sorry, just not going to do that because I don't know who any of them are. But against, and we're probably going to rotate our complete squad against them. So I'll look at Stoke. Martin's Indy was injured in the 53rd minute against Swansea yesterday and was stretchered off. Post-match, Mark Hughes reported it was a groin strain, that he was currently on crutches and out a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks, which means we will be seeing Kevin Wimmer, most likely. Stephen Ireland is also still recovering from a double leg break and hasn't played since May of 2016. Someone to keep an eye on, Jeff Cameron. He was given the clearance to resume training last week after coming back from a head injury he suffered in October. He was left out for the match against Swansea, but he could return against us. And then Jack Butland returned against Swansea, recovering from a broken finger. For Tottenham injuries, everyone knows Lamella's made 2 sub-appearances. He's on the road to recovering full match fitness. Winks missed out this past week due to illness, so it's no lingering injury, just recovering from an illness. Wanyama's still rehabbing, yet to join the first team, out until the new year. Toby Alderweireld, there were some unsettling quotes that came out this week. Toby spoke with a Belgian reporter for Headline News, and I will read the quote. He said, "I have a serious muscle tear. There's a big chance of recurrence. If the muscle tears off completely, for instance, I would need surgery, and it'll take 14 weeks to recover. That's why we try to see how we can treat the muscle. In 2 weeks, I'll undergo a new scan." So that's concerning with the muscle tear in his hamstring. And I think given that it's a World Cup year, we're going to expect him to be very careful with his injury. Make sure he doesn't re-aggravate it. So it could be a while before we see him. Last timeline was until the new year at least. I think it could be later on because he's not going to want to risk it. And also, you add to that his unsettled contract situation. I think there could be some more hesitancy to come back early as well because of that. And lastly,
there may be also some hesitancy on the club's side as well, depending on the severity of the injury, given his age, right? Possibly.
Yeah. Possibly. I mean, it's a chance that, like I said, there's a big chance of recurrence with this type of injury. If he comes back too early and tears it again, he'll need surgery, and that's 14 weeks. Likely to miss the World Cup. He's not going to do that. And Davinson Sanchez out for 3 matches with the red card suspension. They had talked about possibly appealing it. I haven't heard anything else on that. But, I mean, I think when you go back and look at the match tape, I don't know what you're going to appeal.
No,
and those are your injury updates. Looking forward to the week ahead.
And I think Certainly, I don't want to go down another rabbit hole with the transfer window coming up. As you said, Ken, let's save that. Maybe we can talk about that next week for brevity's sake. But I think, Tim, you said we're going to rotate for Apoel. West Ham just scored.
Yeah, I saw that.
Who would have thunk it right before halftime? But I tried to look up our squad for Champions League. I couldn't find it on our website. So I don't know who's locked in, but he can only rotate so much based on who we've got. And is Foyth in the Champions League squad? I don't think he is. And I know, academy players, obviously very, very limited on who was in there. I think we even left. Did we leave 2 or 3 open spots in the Champions League squad? Which, now you think about it, it's kind of, why do we do that? But I don't know who is in the squad to fill in while we. So
I'm pulling it up right now. So you do have Foyth in the squad. You have Kyle Walker-Peters in the squad.
Okay.
Nkudu's in it. Luke Amos, Anthony Giorgio, Tashawn Oakley-Booth. I think they are listed as the B-list players, so I think they can be called up for it. Lorente is
well, and we know Sanchez can play in midweek, and I'm probably
Sanchez can play, so I would expect him to start. Right. I mean, with like the B-list squad players, Harry Winks was listed on the B-list. Just because of his age, you can list him in the younger squad.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I think that opens it up for Anthony Giorgio, who we saw in the preseason tour looked promising. Opens it up for the 17-year-old Tashawn Oakley-Booth. I mean, I would like to see those players get a run out this. If we're so worried about having to rotate every single game, I would like to see this taken as a rest game because we've already locked up the top spot in the group. There's nothing to be won by going out with our full squad in this game. There's only things to be lost with fitness, potential injury. So I want to see a full rotation.
And if we hadn't been in this slump, I wouldn't be overly concerned about Stoke and Brighton. Obviously, City's the big game and is the third of the Sanchez ban. So that's a huge concern going there without a wealth of talent at the centre-back position.
Yeah, and I think the only player of note, if memory serves, that is on not on the roster for Champions League is Eric Lamela, who will continue his substitutions in the Premier League, and maybe by the time we do play our first FA Cup match, that may be his first start. We'll see. Let's move on. Community Beer Company's Mosaic IPA predictions for Apoel. We'll start with the Champions League match. And Jared, let's start with you. Apoel, you got a prediction for us for midweek for Champions League Group Week 6?
Yeah, so I always think predictions for games that don't really matter for one side are tough. I will go. I'll go 1-1 draw with. Let's see. I'm going to go 1-1 draw with Eriksen netting Tottenham's only goal.
There you go. Fast. What about you, friend?
Vast is boycotting predictions.
Yeah.
And let's face it, we apparently all suck at them anyway because we didn't get any right.
We do. We keep track of this trivia thing. I need to start keeping track of predictions and see how bad we do. You could get 5 right and win the thing.
Yeah, I was going to say like 31-28, but that's an NFL score, really, isn't it? Okay. Let's say. We've got to get back on winning ways, so I will say 2-0 to Spurs.
Tim, what about you?
I will say 2-1.
Which way?
And give me a goal from one of the youngsters for Spurs.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think you've picked a loss for us this year, haven't you?
I will always announce the Spurs score first.
Okay.
So if it would have been 1-2, so yeah, 2-1.
All right. Simon, what about you?
Am I feeling Spursy or am I feeling ultra confident? I don't think there's any confidence left in me right now. So I think I'll stand by my rule of never predicting the loss. So I'm going to go 0-0.
All right, and I'm going to pick. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Do you remember last week when Tim talked me down off the ledge? Sorry.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
This
so,
Apoel game.
What did I say?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like 1-1 and a 2-1 defeat or some nonsense like that, and I wasn't that far off in the end, was I? So I feel your pain, mate.
Yeah, the Apoel game is interesting. This was a pride game for them, obviously, and they'll probably want to go out with a bang. I mean, you never know what's going to happen or how long it could be before they become Champions League eligible again. So that little winger they have on I think it's the left-hand side, with the ponytail. He's about 5'2", covered in